King Arthur, Legend of the Sword is probably one of the most original versions of the King Arthur legacy. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword stars Charlie Hunnam, Jude Law, and is directed by Guy Ritchie. What's up, guys? Welcome to another brand new 2017 movie review. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword is one that I really wasn't planning on going to see, and my expectations were really low. So when I went into this, I was actually surprised it wasn't too bad. But don't get me wrong, I do love historical epics. Kingdom of Heaven is one of my favorite films. It's excellent. Gladiator, love that one. But King Arthur is a story that's been told quite a few times in the past. What else can they do with this story? The good news is that this one does tell it in a very different way, thanks to Mr. Guy Ritchie. But in this story, it starts off with King Arthur's father, played by Eric Bana, who, by the way, always steals the show. For some reason, every time I see Eric Bana on screen, there's just this magnetism of him, and he always kind of steals whatever scene he's in, and a lot of times he takes the fall. Highly underrated actor. But at the beginning of the movie, Arthur is stripped from his father, sees his mother getting killed. The rest of the movie, he is kind of a king in hiding. His birthright has literally been stripped from him. And so throughout the rest of the movie, he's not really living a life to be proud of. You know, he's slumming it through the back alleys, hustling, and he picks up some good fighting skills along the way. Really, he develops street smarts. But what brings him to the forefront is the actual Excalibur sword. He is the guy that pulls Excalibur out, and this is where the story really picks up. Jude Law plays his uncle, and he is the current king. And of course, he doesn't want to give up his throne, so there's this one scene where he's trying to put an end to Arthur, and it's pretty early in the movie. And that is one of the best sequences in the movie, and that's a good place to start my pros with this film. Guy Ritchie, what a director. He directed Snatch, which is a fantastic film. I still quote it to this day, but Guy Ritchie kind of reminds me of Edgar Wright. They both have a similar directing style, and so they always tell a story in a fresh and new, inventive way. I've never seen a period piece told like this. It was so cool. It feels really modern, actually. So he keeps your interest constantly throughout this movie. And I love how he plays out a scene. He'll have one of the characters like Arthur telling a story, and then you'll see all these little snippets of scenes of how the story unfolded, and oftentimes it's pretty funny. And if you've seen movies like Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. The guy is just a master with the camera and with editing and how the story's told. And still to this day, there's very few directors like Guy Ritchie. Also, have to mention the music. The music in this movie is infectious. Again, very modern, but I cannot get it out of my head. There are a few score pieces in this movie that are just so good, so cool, so unique, and they work very well with playing a scene out, letting the audience know when the tension is at an all-time high and then slowing the scene down. But they work so well with an action sequence. And that's my third pro, is the action in this movie. There are a few scenes that are done so well, especially when Arthur takes hold of Excalibur and he's literally slaying through a good dozen soldiers, and like it's nothing. But the scene is displayed in a way like I've never seen before. There is some use of CGI in these scenes, and it's very noticeable, but to me it works. And CGI does kind of play a big part because there is a lot of fantasy in this movie. More fantasy than you would expect in a King Arthur tale. And it was a nice surprise, actually, because I didn't expect that at all. But I'm a big fan of fantasy. I love Harry Potter, I love Lord of the Rings, and this really had kind of that vibe sometimes. But there's a scene near the end of the movie where King Arthur has to fight a character that you would swear would be out of Lord of the Rings. Now for the cons, CGI. CGI works sometimes, and sometimes it is like too noticeable. Sometimes they depend on it way too much, and there's even some scenes that they use like CGI snakes where it's almost like they overdo it. And then my last con is Charlie Hunnam. He does a fine job in this, don't get me wrong, but I would have liked to see somebody better in that role. A great example would be Gerard Butler. from 300. Gerard Butler today might be a different story, but 300, the way he commanded that character of Leonidas was just undeniable. I did not get that from Charlie Hunnam. I would even say that Travis Fimmel from Vikings would have been a good pick over Charlie Hunnam. I have nothing against Hunnam as an actor, but he's not like the greatest actor. But overall, guys, this isn't a bad movie. I definitely give it a high humdrum. I think it's a good Saturday afternoon. You might enjoy yourself. And plus, Guy Ritchie and the music in this movie are just icing on the cake. You will have a blast watching Guy Ritchie's direction. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on King Arthur Legend of the Sword? Looking forward to hearing them. Also, if you're not a member of Killer Flicks, come on over, become a member. Tomorrow is Friday, and that's Free for All Friday. So we talk about all kinds of genres. If you look down below, you can see my social media links. If you like what I'm doing, please hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.